What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of V2 Sports on the Court Recap. And there's not really much I can say for this past week other than it was a shit show. Specifically, if you're a fan of a team in orange, and that is any orange at all. But a little quick thing to you Tennessee fans. There's the buzzer. You just lost again.
Whopper,
So,
Whopper, 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 Junior, Double, Triple, Whopper, flavor taste with perfect toppers. I rule this day. Lettuce, mayo, pickle, ketchup. It's okay if I don't want that impossible or bacon Whopper. Any Whopper my way. You rule your season today and PK having your way.
I don't know. That was just perfect. Huge shout out to Burger King for always coming in at the right time for any episode.
Take your meds, Jackson. They're right here. Take them. Ah,
Come on, Cupid me,
you
take your
forgot your
meds.
meds at the dorm.
Oh my!
All right.
Oh, I love South
So
Park.
let's go.
Let's move into the game, shall we?
Yeah, the first game. Wow, Tennessee at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt won off of a really good 3-point buzzer beater. I was really impressed with how Vanderbilt responded to a very good solid Tennessee
There you
team.
go. There you go. You
Especially,
fixed it. You
yeah,
fixed it. Very good.
Tennessee's
All
not.
right, a decent Tennessee.
Tennessee's so inconsistent that I can't say they're. I have to say they're decent, but this was a huge win for the Vanderbilt program, and they've been winning games they shouldn't have. They've been winning better games than what their talent shows, and they could be a really sleeper in the SEC tournament. I said this week. They have a really good shot to be like a sleeper that A&M
Nah.
team last year in the SEC tournament. I'm telling you.
They're not a sleeper, but I'll say all the games that they should win, they lose. And that one game you think just they're not going to win it because of their record, they win it. This was one of them. And also, I'm going to say a few things. One, Rick Barnes, you need to be fired. You're an old coach, and all old coaches haven't worked for a while. Leonard Hamilton, Coach Calipari, Barnes. I mean, you're all just old guys who haven't adapted to the modern game. You haven't adjusted to the system, and the only reason you've been even semi-competing is because your recruiting classes are always extremely stacked. Also, Tennessee, essentially nobody on that team played good. Even Vescovi, I know he had 14 points, but the bottom line is you shot bad. You only had 2 assists and 1 rebound, which is worse than every other starter in terms of combined stats for assists and rebounds. And overall, just the whole team played bad, except maybe Key off the bench because he was productive in his minutes since he was coming off the bench. It was just an embarrassing loss for you guys. And if you're blaming it off of a buzzer beater, you should have never been in this situation in the first place. The bottom line is you're playing Vanderbilt, and I know you're away. I know it's an away game, but I know, oh, SEC away game, those are difficult. No, they're not. You very well should have won this game. There were many SEC teams in this week that went on the road and also won in a game that was pretty far more difficult than this one, and you lost. Your ranking is complete BS, and it should be swiped from you guys.
Yeah,
Fringe top 25.
they remind me a lot of like A&M preseason football. You guys remember when they got all those 5 stars just to lose to some garbage teams? I mean,
Yep.
Tennessee's been
Well,
really
Tennessee
good
fans, how do you
this year.
feel? All right. Before the season of football even started, you were like, "Yeah, we're gonna go like 9-3, maybe 10-2 with a win over Alabama." Or not, no, 11-1 because none of y'all predicted a loss to South Carolina. So you went and you talked to the Tennessee Orange Gods. You went and spoke to Dolly Parton, and you said anything for the football team to win more than 7 games this year. And she said, "Sure thing," and walked away.
School
Tits
team's gone.
bouncing. What?
Sure thing, Cupcake.
What?
Sure, we'll have to take your basketball team away from you, but yeah, why not?
Pretty much, she walks away, tits bouncing, and pretty much goes, "All right, you heard him, God." And God said, "What, my mighty child?" And she responded back, "Smite their basketball team now." And look where it got you, Tennessee fans. You have a loss to, Colorado, and not even in football. If it was in football and you lost to Coach Prime, I'd be a little bit more pissed at you and tell you need to get out of the SEC. But you lost to their even worse basketball team. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the fact that you're losing to any and every other team in the SEC because your coach is horrible. And after we get to Mizzou, I've got something for you Tennessee fans because I read it on Twitter and it was pretty damn funny. But let's go ahead and get into the next game.
All right, let's get into Florida at Bama. Luke, you could start this off.
Sure. I predicted Florida in this game because I, for some reason, thought this would be the one game where Alabama's bad shooting finally bites them. And of course, when I say that, Alabama finally decides to shoot well from three because they went 44% from there and made 15 threes. On top of that, Florida decided none of our team is going to play except for Castleton. Castleton's going to drop a light 30-10, and then everybody else is going to do absolutely nothing. It's great. Eric Hugel had 15, but I don't really. Whatever, he had 15-6. Good job. But everybody else played like garbage. The entire bench was ass. You shot 4 for 14 from 3, and you shot 34% from the field. This was just a horrible shooting night, even though you got to 70, but let's be honest, I hope you would, considering it's Alabama and their defense is not good. But also, this is funny enough that Alabama also decided Miller's going to have one of his better games. Sears was going to have another great game. The whole team was going to rebound well. This is just... this basically, all of what I expected not to happen happened. So,
Yeah,
it was the worst prediction of the year for me. And I apologize for putting any faith in Florida.
You really saw the talent that Bama has. I mean, they dominated from three. I mean, when you shoot 44% from three, you know you're going to win the game most likely, unless for some reason your defense is awful. But when you have 45 rebounds, you have 44% on the 3-point percentage, you're going to win the game. Let's be honest. Yep. Unless some miracle happened, you're going to win the game by a lot. Bama's talent really showed in this game. They dominated Florida from. This really looked like a huge win, momentum booster for Alabama and Brandon Miller. So, are we done on this, or is there any other?
No, I told you all last week. I told you all that Alabama
would win by 28,
and Bama would win by 28 points, and y'all went, "Oh, it won't be by that much." It won't. I told y'all, stop sleeping. I understand y'all are in one of those little NyQuil sleeps. You're snoring. You said Jason don't know nothing about basketball. He went 0-7 his first week. Well, guess what? I'm here now, you little cocksuckers. Read and weep.
Hey, Jason, when he finally got a pick right.
That's mad ironic. The sound didn't even work.
It didn't.
No, you just heard like.
Oh, it was so like my bad. It was supposed to be like, be happy. I don't even know. That's
the joke died. The joke died. Move on.
I'm sorry. My bad.
Jackson, you just gotta sing the stuff from the soundboard.
I can't do it. Not all the time. That's my bad. Okay, let's get into the LSU at Mississippi State game. I saw Mississippi State winning this from the start. Mississippi State has been really hot lately, and LSU honestly might be the worst team in the conference. They are awful. I mean, I truly think this is the worst team in the conference, and I don't care what anybody says. This team is awful, and I mean awful.
Mr. State's point guard Deshaun Davis had his worst game of the season, and yet when one door closes, another opens because DJ Jeffries decided, I'm going to finally start shooting decent. This will be the first game where I actually shoot well from three, and he shot 5 for 6 from three and had 18 points. Even though they only put up 64, the bottom line is they only gave up 53, and once again, the Bulldogs' defense shows they're ridiculous because if you ain't the dog, you dog food. They have been on a 5-game win streak, and low-key, they are starting to become a sleeper for making the tournament.
Yeah, I completely agree. But the funny thing is, besides DJ Jeffries, there was only one other person on Mississippi State who made a three, and it was Moore, the guard. Shaquille Moore, and the team only shot 16 3-pointers. I mean, that's one of the lowest I've seen in SEC play, and they still dominated this game from start to finish. Huge win for Mississippi State, and they're really improving very well. They didn't have much fouls and played great from start to finish. It's really rare when you see team only have like just a couple of 3-pointers. That is, besides DJ Jeffries is what I mean. Like, and having like very low points attempted. They had about 30 rebounds, which is pretty good too. So they dominated this game. LSU proved why they're the worst team in the conference yet again. And yeah, that's my take on the Wednesday slate. It's been horrible.
One last thing that was kind of impressive is Mississippi State only accumulated 10 fouls. I mean, I know that that's random, but when you don't give up that many fouls in a game, you'll really see how the defense shines. So I was impressed by that. Only thing I wasn't impressed by was the free throw shooting from both teams, specifically Mississippi State, because they went 6 for 13. They literally, I believe, if there are games they'll lose if they ever make the tournament, it will be because of missed free throws. That is literally what has
Yeah,
hit them so many times.
they've been remarkably inconsistent with the free throws, and this I have no idea why Mississippi State's defense is so underrated. They've been underrated these past few games, and
Like
honestly,
top 5 in like points allowed, and I think it might have been turnovers. I'm not 100%, but I believe. Matter of fact, I'll have to pull up the statistic. I might find it later, and then during the next game where we talk about Mississippi State. But point is, the defense, even statistically, is like one of the best in the nation.
they've been really good this year, and they're only improving. Just imagine what they could do. Probably SEC play, or up and coming.
Saturday game slate.
Yes, let's get into Saturday slate. Georgia upsets Kentucky at home. I mean, did any of us really expect this? Aquindo balling out per usual. Oscar doing what he does best, carrying Kentucky, but not enough. Georgia destroys that Kentucky hot streak and destroys the momentum they had. And man, Kentucky had this, and I was really shocked that Georgia won this game. But when you only shoot from like 35% from 3, and you do that horrible, it's
literally
remarkable.
that is the reason they lost. Every time Kentucky loses, it's because they shot bad. Like
Yeah,
there are
but
teams that shoot good and still lose. This is literally their biggest weakness, is just shooting bad. Whenever they shoot bad, they lose the game. You shot 7
yeah,
for 20 from 3. You are bound to lose.
yeah, they missed that. Frederick. Frederick was one of their most clutch 3-point percentage hitters this season. He's been really good from 3 in like clutch situations. Well, usually, like on the season he's horrible, but like in clutch situations he's been really good for. That was a
Funny
big
though
loss.
is Georgia didn't really shoot that much better. They shot worse from 3 with only one less attempt, and they only shot like 1.5% higher. They shot 40% from the field, and that just
Dude,
you'd
yeah,
think with a like that kind of shooting percentage that they wouldn't have. I mean, they even took
no,
less, made less shots, and they still lost, which
yeah,
doesn't really make sense. But I guess
they
when you
were
look at
fouled
that,
more by almost
no,
10.
the reason why they won is because of free throws. They made 25 of
No,
29 free throws.
they
How do
were
you get
fouled.
fouled 30 times? Like this
I
has got to
I
be a
don't even
little
know,
like
man. I don't even
this has
know.
got to be a little referee play because I don't. There's no way that I mean I know home court advantage and this is just a theory, but this really showed home court considering they got 30 free throws at home compared to Kentucky's 13. I mean, do you think that's a little bit of bias?
Honestly, I do.
Honestly, I
Everybody's
do.
been waiting on the
Uh,
Kentucky quote unquote dynasty in basketball, them being a blue blood to kind of fail and fall out. Everybody has. And who's going to stop it other than
Kentucky these
referees?
last few years. Kentucky these last few years, everybody overrates them in the preseason, and then look what they do in the regular season. Like it's been ever since like the COVID year, they've been awful. I mean, I mean compared to their usual self. Kentucky used to be
The
a
standards,
dynasty.
they're bad.
Yeah, Kentucky used to be a dynasty of blue blood, and like lately they just haven't been there like they used to be. And that's my thoughts on the game.
Overall, well done shooting from the free throw line, Georgia, but I'm a little impressed that you even got to the free throw line that many times. All right, we can move on to essentially the most mid
Game
game of the
of the
planet.
week. Come on, guys. The game of the week. We all missed it. South Carolina at Ole Miss. I'm messing. Let me go on
Yeah.
my rant.
Don't sleep on the Cox and the Rebs.
South Carolina not only won this game by a really solid day by Josh Gray. I mean, 13 rebounds. He did only have 3 points, but he was really the life in this South Carolina team from start to him and Jacoby Wright played absolutely amazing. You had Hayden Brown play really solid. Michi Johnson do what he does best. And the one main thing, Gigi Jackson didn't play at all. Only 12 minutes off the bench, had 1 3 point, and really didn't play much at
Impressive.
all.
Your
And
best player
South,
didn't play, and yet you
South
still win.
Carolina,
That's like
South Carolina dominated without their best player. And it shows not only that they could. It shows they can truly bench. They have the like balls. Like Lamont Paris has the balls to bench Gigi when he's being like like a baby.
that is true, and I'll give him credit for that. But I will admit, like, this is the worst team in the SEC. Like, this
Yeah.
literally is the worst team in terms of record and
Well,
SEC play.
actually, LSU is the worst team now, but yeah, completely agree. But
Oh, they might be actually. Are they?
yeah,
Let me check.
LSU's 1 and
Oh
11.
yeah, you're right. Ole Miss has
Yeah.
one more win. I'm impressed.
Yeah, Ole Miss has been really decent overall, but they can't finish. They can't finish. They led for
Always
most of
lose
this game.
close. I'll give you that.
They led most of this game from start to finish, and I don't know what happened, but
Shot
they
6
lost.
for 23 from 3. That's a start.
Yeah, I know. South Carolina always came back on them. Like Ole Miss had a lead up to like 15 at one
Yeah.
point, and South Carolina came back. They always like fought back. Josh Gray, Jacoby Wright, Hayden Brown, and all brought the life in them. And
As you
Chico
said, they
Carter,
just can't finish.
per usual, he had a really solid day, 3 point percentage. He only shot he was 2 for 6, meaning he only shot 33%, which is unusual, but he still played pretty solid for the Gamecocks. But the most impressive storyline is how Josh Gray has been lately. I mean, look at Josh Gray. He's been looking like a top 5 center in the SEC these past 2 weeks. He's really like taken the next level and looks
He
like
was Clint
one of my
Capella stats because he only had 3 points and shot poorly, but he just rebounded and played defense unlike any other center.
Yeah, I'm saying overall these past few games, like he's been averaging double before this game. He had a really bad game shooting wise, but overall he's been playing really good lately. He looks like one of my breakout candidates this year. He looks really talented, really potential wise, and potential wise has a great future. And I've really enjoyed seeing him break out in the South Carolina mid offense.
Yeah. This was just a game that I didn't really want to cover, to be honest. I mean, the only thing I was impressed about was 2 players on South Carolina, one of which was already mentioned, and then also Brown. I think that Hayden Brown played pretty solid. Like I usually when I literally went to the UAB game, like in my hometown where I watched him play, and he was so bad, and I was thinking like, is this guy like one of those walk-ons that just had to start because of injuries? And I was really questioning his abilities. And then I saw him in this game, and I was like, oh, so you do have a scholarship. So you are supposed to play here. Cool. Good for you, man.
Yeah, I really think Fagan. I'm trying to remember his first name for Ole Miss. Ty Fagan for Ole Miss really came off the bench and really played well against the South Carolina defense. That's been really horrible all year, but he really stepped up and almost had Ole Miss to win, but they just barely lost it, and South Carolina wins close
He
game.
got to the foul line. 8 for 10
Yeah.
from free throw. That's be a lesson to everyone. Make your free throws because they can win you games. Except this time it didn't, so maybe that's a bad example.
All right, are we done with this game?
Yeah, we can move on.
All right, I'm sorry I picked Auburn. Auburn fans, yeah. It was one of my Jason picks, like one of the horrible upset picks. I know it was at Auburn, but you know one take that I called that was right. I said Brandon Miller would play awful. I said that,
Play
and it
awful.
and it was true. He was 0 for
0 for
7,
7 from 3.
3, and he had a mid-game rebounding. He did have 6 rebounds. Played okay defensively, but overall, Brandon Miller didn't play that too good. Bama wins a pretty close game than what most people expected. I expected the upset. That's my bad. I shouldn't have bet on Auburn literally ever. I don't know why I pick Auburn. Katie Johnson played really solid. Uh, Broom, Williams, and don't forget everyone's favorite Wendell Green. He played. I don't even know that he's played
I
great.
mean, I'm gonna be real. This was the most unusual Auburn game because, like, when you see them lose, you typically can predict the stat line. This was the first time where you could not do that. If you saw this loss, you would already assume that like Broom carried, the guards played like garbage, and then maybe a couple people off the bench played solid. Complete opposite. Broom was one of the worst players in the starting lineup. Even though he had 8 points, he shot terrible. He played very weak in the paint, even though Alabama isn't the most defensive reliant team. And then finally, Wendell Green had a good game. I was waiting for this to happen. I was thinking, okay, you're playing bad recently. I mean, you did have that Georgia game, but other than that, you've been playing eh. And then you had the Texas A&M game, even though you lost, you had 20. And then you had this game, you had 24. So, like, finally, Wendell Green is actually doing something. On top of that, what was it? Jalen Williams, I think. He had a good game, especially shooting. He was 5 for 8, 3 for 6 from three. Even though he fouled a good bit, he still shot well, and he was essentially the leading scorer other than Wendell. But the things you can predict, which aren't surprising, Flanagan, you played like garbage once again. Well done, you shot terrible. Jesper, you didn't score as per usual, and your defense wasn't enough. Shocker. You have the bench, you didn't do anything. What a surprise, you have no offense. And finally, Katie Johnson, even though you had 12 points, ultimately you shot 3 for 9, and once again, you forced a lot of layups that weren't supposed to be shot. But is what it is. Yeah, I would just say shoot better and play better offense. Matter of fact, it's just the whole get better because
Get
that's really all I
better,
could say to
kid.
Auburn. Yeah, I mean, you shot 7 for 24 from three. Yeah, just this was not your game.
It,
But
Yeah,
at least you made it close. At least you weren't Florida, where the game was just an
yeah.
absolute blowout.
At least Auburn kept it close. It was a really decent game for them, and it was a really tough loss, heartbreaking loss to your rival. And let's get into the Vanderbilt at Florida game. Vanderbilt comes off another big, huge win for the program over pretty decent Florida team. They have decent defense. Their offense is absolutely awful. The player of the game is obviously Liam Robbins, man. I mean, 32 points, 10 rebounds.
Beans.
I mean, 3 for 4 from three. I mean, him and Thomas did absolutely amazing. Trey Thomas with 3. Holy, Vanderbilt shot 52% from 3. I just looked at this. I mean, they had 40 rebounds and 52 percentage from 3. I mean, you look at that, they're winning every game. Look at Florida. They only hit 2 threes in the entire
Zero.
game. They hit 10% from 3. Only 36 rebounds. The rebounds were pretty even. Free throw percentage was really, really weird. And the differential was just, I mean, Liam Robbins. Liam Robbins, I don't even know, man. This is one of the best players in the country, and I actually enjoy watching him bring a lot. And as I said, Vanderbilt and Mississippi State are those two teams where you can't SEC tournament. I'm telling you, I've been saying this for weeks now. I mean, you could ask Luke, you can ask Will, you can ask all of them. Know I've been
I didn't even get a name
and
there out.
Tommy.
I
But
said Jason.
He knew better than to get y'all to ask me because I'm going to tell y'all right now he's not been saying that.
said
Let's say this,
Vanderbilt
though.
and
Oh, y'all talking
Mississippi
about
State.
Mississippi
What do you
State?
mean?
Like, here's the deal
Mississippi
with
State
like
is
That's-
underrated.
here's the deal with this
I
game.
said
Like, I'm not sure if I said this on the VT podcast. I think I did, but if I didn't, the point is I made money off of this game because I bet a friend of mine that Vanderbilt would win. And the reason I said that is because this was just the perfect game that Florida would lose. My logic was they always lose a game that's at home and very winnable that like should be just a no-brainer, but they just choke. And that's exactly what happened here. But before I explain why it happened, I'm just gonna tip my cap to Colin Castleton. You are finally no longer an overrated big this year. You have moved to a good big. You have had
You
some
have-
really good games recently.
you went from overrated to decent.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with the
No,
improvement.
he's been
Well
playing.
done.
He's been playing
I'm
better.
joking. I'm joking. He's been playing really good lately. I know.
You've been getting those Tolu Smith stats, and I salute you. Moving on, though, main point I wanted to say is Florida. You must have decided you wanted to be the Auburn Tigers today because you shot 2 for 20 from 3. That's insane. 10%.
That's some
10%.
KD Johnson numbers.
You got that Wendell Green in you. You got that
No.
Flanagan in you.
No,
That
you got
KD
that.
Johnson.
You got that. Zep Jasper in you, man. You got
On God.
Flanagan, dude. Flanagan, dude. I've never seen a worse 3-point shooter, dude. I just watched this. Why do you even let him shoot?
You had a bunch of decent players. I mean, Hugo played well. Castleton played well. Lofton played good.
Why are you letting your players shoot the ball?
I mean, the only problem is, you know how many threes the entire starting lineup made?
Zero.
Zero.
Not one starter made a 3.
They went 0 for 9.
Guys, you know what? They pulled a KD Johnson, man. I mean, 25.3% from 3.
At least Katie Johnson takes bad layups, not bad threes. So
Yeah.
that's something going for him. But I'll admit, I was impressed by Vanderbilt. That was I think I said that they would win. If I didn't, then I should have. But the point is I made money, so I did. But so Vanderbilt, the main player I want to point out, and I know it's just because of the points, but I'm going to be honest, it kind of is Liam Robbins. You, sir, shot well. 10 for 18, 3 for 4. You had a Colin Castleton game because you had a Tolu Smith game, I should say. That's more patented. You went 30. You had a 32 and 10 game, and you were essentially the best forward on the court. You also went 9 for 11 from free throws. Sorry, I shouldn't have. Also,
He's kicking him.
yeah, maybe it is. And Vanderbilt as a whole just shot really damn good. 12 for 23 from 3, 52%. That is something that essentially every college basketball team can't say they can do because I feel like this year has just been the year of bad shooting because almost every college basketball team I've seen just shoots bad. There are not many teams that I can say shoot good. Maybe I'm just really adjusted to the NBA and I enjoy that more, but shooting has been bad. But that's my take.
Yeah, I
Thank you,
completely
Kanye.
agree.
Very
I mean,
cool.
I'm looking at this and I'm like, God, I don't even know how you only shoot 10% from 3. That is awful. Not just awful. That is a general.
Only one player on the whole team made a 3-pointer.
I know it was absolutely wild. I don't know what Florida's game plan was, but they will be.
Here's the thing, though, Jackson.
They will be horrible.
Getting absolutely destroyed by Bama and then following up with the Vanderbilt loss is absolutely garbage. I'll admit that. But you know what's worse than that? Losing
What?
on back-to-back buzzer beaters, because that's exactly what
Hold
the
on.
Tennessee
Tennessee did.
Volunteers just did.
Okay, y'all haven't heard me for the past 3 games because I had to find the tweet. And little known fact, the tweet was actually in my drafts because I was going to post it from a burner account to piss off some Tennessee fans. But to the tune of Rich Flex, produced by Metro, or not even, no, it wasn't even produced by Metro. I don't even know who did it. But it was from the Drake and 21 collab album. I'm just fucking with y'all. This is from somebody I found on Twitter. I'm not this creative. Y'all ready for this one?
Sure.
Tennessee,
What?
can you do something for me? can you fire that old ass coach for me? Tennessee, can you do something for me? Can you make a couple shots late game for me? Tennessee, can you do something for me? Can you stop losing at the fucking buzzer? That's all we're asking, please, for the love of God. All right,
Wait.
I'm reading the tweet.
Oh,
Can I not
fair
read?
enough.
Can I not like subquote the tweet?
I thought the ending. I thought the ending part was not part of the tweet. My bad.
I was like, hell, you know who
Yeah,
you root for. Go Miller Mountain
I,
Technical College.
man, I don't know why, man. I mean, Tennessee, man, what happened? But Missouri, I mean, they played absolutely amazing. I mean, 53%
Tennessee
from
just lost another
three.
Fair enough,
game.
though. This was one of Tennessee's best offensive games, and yet they still lost. Like
Yeah,
this
I
was the
mean, you
first game
should.
where they
That's
played
another
good from
loss.
offense, and yet they played terrible defense. I would never expect Tennessee to score 85 points, which is so out of the ordinary, and they still lose. And
And
to the
they
point, I gotta make an announcement real quick. Zakai Ziegler, if you for some reason ever decide to join this podcast and like listen in on what we've been talking about, I'd like to give you, some basketball knowledge from one person to another. You know that whole concept of shooters keep shooting to grow confidence, right?
He
stop
misses
shooting.
50% of the shots he
That.
don't take.
Do not
Stop
take
shooting.
those
Stop
shots
shooting.
ever again. If you want to pick up something, pick up a book and learn how to change
Why
your
is
form.
why
Because
is
you
the
shoot
offense
terrible. Absolute
behind
garbage.
Ziegler? Why is the offense behind Ziegler? They win so many more games. They just
Zakai, I'm going to be honest. Zakai Ziegler, the Z stands for can't
Ziegler.
shoot.
See, that's my question. After watching this team all year and seeing who they have on the bench, why in the world are they starting Zakai over Tyreek Key?
I have no idea. Key's been really, really serviceable lately. He's been great for them.
Serviceable. He's been great.
No, I mean like a
You're just
serviceable back.
literally throwing
Which
that
means
team on his
start
back.
if you just put. They need to put Key in. Is what I mean.
What's
They need to
the
put
red
Key
team
starting.
He
scoring
is the
off
key
the
to
bench?
not losing these
Mistake.
games.
Key is really carrying them on their back. He's had a couple 20-point scoring games. He's averaging 8. He's really done really good.
Ironic, his name is
Say
Key
really
because
a
he
lot.
kind of is the key to success.
Jackson, move the mic back from your
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
See, I told him if he would just let some natural light in his room and not look like he just listens to Playboy Cardi all day, maybe we'd be fine. But he's in his little like vampire cave right now. Open the blinds,
It's not a
Jackson.
vampire.
Open the blinds. Let us see
Jackson
a certain
definitely
tree outside of your house that doxes your location.
Okay,
Hold
but
on, hold on. What have we
Jackson,
learned
what
here,
type of
folks?
music?
What have we learned here? If you go to
the sound
college
of a
with
buzzer.
Jackson in 2 years, Jackson is very susceptible to peer pressure.
What?
I've
What?
been begging him to basically open the blinds all.
It's opening your eyes!
How is he not burning? Oh look, the blinds won't stay up.
He's doing it.
Luke, your
Hold
mic
on.
is breaking up too.
Okay.
I'm sorry everybody for this short intermission. If you have not noticed, if you're not watching on the YouTube, we finally made Jackson open his blinds so he can see natural light, and the flag behind his bed just collapsed a little bit and it's only hanging on one pin now.
Hold on.
Sunlight. I'm burning. Yeah.
When a vamp
All
come
right.
outside, bitch, you better be ready.
Look how much better it is.
I told you it's such a pain. Just open up
He
the
looks like a
blinds.
real person.
But we've talked about this game long enough, and I feel like we need to move on to, in my opinion, the best game of the week.
Hold on, guys.
This is
Bro's sleeping on that Ole Miss South Carolina game.
with a pull out a cowbell or something. Oh.
Oh yeah, Tennessee just lost
Thank you,
another
Jason.
game.
That boy is a clown.
That's good. But Mississippi State and Arkansas, I'm going to be honest, I'm so glad I switched my pick last second because the Dogs have now won 5 games in a row in the SEC, and they just beat an Arkansas on the road with the sellout crowd, and they finally got back Nick Smith, and they
I know.
still beat them.
Once again, going
The
back to what I
Dogs
said
are
about
coming back.
Once again, when I said about Alabama and Florida, me and Noah picked this game from the jump. And we had to convince Luke to come over here and, take... Hold on. we had to take Mississippi State. And you're like, no. Jackson said, no. I told you, I'm coming for your record, Jackson. And
Main
I'm
thing
coming
is,
for those $44.
Mississippi State finally did something I thought they would never do in the history of their program.
Win a game.
They shot 6 for 10 from 3. They shot good from 3. It's unbelievable. They actually shot good. I can't believe it.
60%. 60%.
I feel giddy. I mean, they made 47% from the field. You wouldn't expect this, but they did it. You couldn't. Their offense actually won him a game. It's unreal.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean that was huge for them. Any other thoughts on how Mississippi State dominated offensively? Arkansas just couldn't keep up, and
Mississippi State is what Tennessee aims
oh
to be.
my God,
John Davis
Arkansas.
is an underrated guard.
And no, guys, Arkansas shot 22% from 3. God.
That's from Tennessee.
If it weren't for-
numbers right there.
I will also say that whenever this was one of the games I watched, and like whenever I would see Arkansas get fouled,
Devontae Davis is
like-
mid.
like basically if they never called a foul in Arkansas, the whole stadium would erupt and complain. And whenever they'd foul Mississippi State, it was like the end of the world. I've never seen a fan base react so poorly to like just a reach-in call that was like pretty evident.
Wild, man. I don't even
But-
understand that.
You've never
But,
seen a fan base go crazy about.
No, I have.
Okay, hold on. This isn't even basketball. But you're saying you've never seen a fan base go crazy about a couple like calls and or missed calls.
I have, but I haven't seen it to that extent.
Yeah.
Football,
Like,
Ole Miss, mustard bottles.
okay. Well, to be
beer
fair,
bottles
that
shoved
was
at
like
police.
that's football, and Tennessee fans.
To be
at
fair,
football are
that's
different
Tennessee.
breed.
We're talking we're talking Mississippi State, Arkansas. We're talking
This is basketball. Like I
we're
feel like the
talking
fans are a
about-
little more
talking the two-
civilized.
We're talking like the two least toxic SEC fan bases. I mean, you're not wrong.
Exactly.
Arkansas is pretty more toxic.
I mean,
Mississippi
Arkansas
State's
fans
just
are
like-
assholes.
As of lately, Arkansas has been really toxic. I mean, they've been
Fan wise, yeah.
worst.
Their fans are
I don't
Yeah,
even
they've
know.
been-
To me, the Arkansas Razorbacks in basketball are the Memphis Grizzlies. They're bragging about stuff, but they haven't won anything.
Oh, it's all-
So, does that get you? So, I will say,
You're just
I'm
a
going to bring up a
civilian,
slogan
cuz.
that Christians has just been saying this recently from Mississippi State. He's their coach. If you ain't a dog, you dog food. And I feel like that's a pretty funny quote.
I wish I had the
Like it.
crickets on my soundboard. Yeah, I wish I had those on my soundboard. I would have played them. All right,
Moving on.
guys. I think we spent a lot on that game. Let's get into let's go to Texas A&M at LSU, man. I mean,
Versus
do we
trash.
have any words? LSU is absolutely awful.
I'm sorry, Aggie Nation.
my God.
All you people.
Miller is good. LSU is bad. That's
I'm
my
sorry
take.
for taking
No,
LSU
man, not
to
all.
upset here. It's my fault.
Yeah, thanks for
Who
the
bets on
apology.
LSU? Who bets on LSU?
They
LSU.
Jason
lost by
does.
12 they
Jason
lost by 12
does.
points.
LSU is the worst team in the SEC right now
Jason
by far.
does.
It's not even that close.
They lost
Jason
by
does.
12 points to Texas A&M. When looking at it basketball-wise, 12 points really isn't that bad. Hell, they lost
mean-
by 9 to Mississippi State, the team we're over here dick riding because they just beat Arkansas. Let's literally calm our tits here for a minute. Have some faith in the Tigers.
They were also at home. They have a decent home-field advantage, and you know,
Home
Faith
field.
in the
don't.
team that shoot.
Home
I'm not having
field
faith in a
uh,
team
advantage,
that
They have a decent home field.
I'm saying no. I'm saying Adam Miller. Adam Miller, man.
Adam,
I mean, he was really solid. He was really solid for LSU, and he was a big part why LSU was even in. I mean, you look at him and Tyrell. They're really the lifeline. They really have potential next year. Those talent guys in because they have a lot of juniors and seniors. Bring those freshmen and sophomores up. I mean, they could have a really talented season. They lose KJ Williams, Derek Fountain, and Justice Hill. God, they lose a lot. I completely forgot how much they lose.
How many more games do we
That-
have after this one?
That
this
was
is
actually the last
one.
game.
Oh, nice. I need everybody to speed up your take so that I can get to the big news.
All right, guys.
Already had my
Yeah,
take.
Texas A&M dominated. LSU is garbage and the worst team in conference.
All right. I've returned with some more news. So if you didn't notice, yesterday we posted on the Instagram page stating that we're going to be dropping 5 episodes a week. The reason being that is because your support, all of your listens, all of your downloads has finally paid off. And I mean paid off. So every episode we pretty much have a goal with our publisher that we have to hit a certain amount of numbers every 30 days. And we've been striving. We've been, like ASAP, always striving and prospering. We finally hit that number last week. And we are finally, making a little bit per each listen on the podcast, and it's helping us pay it up.
What is
What?
that?
Where?
Derek Carr is being released.
Are you kidding
It's
me?
not. It's like as if that was gonna happen.
No.
No, they were trying to trade him. He's being
No.
released.
Okay, listen, because this isn't college, I can share
Sorry.
my fan a little bit. I'm a Raiders fan. We were trying to trade him so we didn't have to give him his guaranteed money. And that's why it's some BS. But thank y'all for tuning in and listening for the past year. It really means a lot from us starting as a small singular school podcast to rebranding and Jackson being one of the main people that helped me start it. Thank y'all for showing your support. I know we picked up a lot of fans along the way, a lot of DMs I get, specifically people telling me to tell Jackson to breathe, or people sending me Jackson's address. So thank
I've been
y'all.
using it a lot lately.
Yeah.
The breathing techniques I've been
Breathing
practicing.
Yeah, it makes your takes a little bit better. But as always, everybody, thank y'all for coming in today, and we're so excited for the episode tomorrow. We're finally going to include the Tuesday slates in the On the Court episodes. So, you won't miss your favorite team in case they didn't play Wednesday through Saturday. So, as always, good morning, good afternoon, and good night from the V2 crew.